We are excited to have you here tonight. As we're kind of getting settled in, just wanted to see who we have here in the audience. So I'd love to know if you are here as a first-time parent of a kindergartner. Okay, keep those hands up. How about if this is your last one? Okay, very good. Very good. So some emotions on both sides of those. And how about if you're here with one of your middle ones? Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So it's important to recognize all of us have kids at different levels and ages, and so we're excited to have you here, especially to those ones in the middle. Like that kudos to you for coming out tonight, because we know the first, we expected to see a lot of that, and then the last one coming up. So good job for being here, supporting all your babies. So thank you and welcome to our kindergarten night. We are, again, excited to have you here. My name is Amy Cruz. I'm the Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And I just started here recently in Parma, just this past August. And I have to say, from visiting classrooms, working with teachers and principals and administrators, I am so impressed by the work that our staff puts in to make every day special for our kids. It's really impressive. I love being here in Parma. I love the opportunities that we have for our children, and I'm excited for you to be able to hear about them tonight. So that's me, Amy Cruz, and there's another Amy. Amy Zermatt is here tonight, and she'll be talking a little bit more with you about some of the programs that we offer. And Tiffany Buchanan, she works with our STEM programming and some of our other alternative programs. Tonight we have teachers and principals from every one of our elementary buildings, from Densler, Green Valley, John Muir, Pleasant Valley, Ridgebrook, and Thoreau Park. So welcome and thank you for being here with us tonight. We always have a slide that shows our district goals. It helps us to remember why we're here. That very first one about increasing student achievement. And of course, we are here to increase our transparency throughout our communities, communicating with you, sharing information with you, and updating you on the opportunities that your child will have. And we don't want to talk about this one as much tonight, but we always are thinking about being fiscally responsible for our stakeholders. We have 4 options that you're going to learn about tonight for our students. We have early entrance to kindergarten option. We have KLA, which is our Kindergarten Launch Academy, and that is for our students who are turning 5, young 5s, between May and September. So that's a Kindergarten Launch Academy. And we have our traditional kindergarten and a STEM project-based learning kindergarten approach. So you'll hear about all of those tonight. And we wanted to highlight just a little bit about a day in the life of a kindergartner. So it certainly has changed since you and I were in kindergarten. And so we wanted to hear a little bit from one of our elementary principals. Mrs. Marconi is going to highlight a little bit about kindergarten.
Every kindergarten class has a question of the day. Do you like apples? And they have to put in yes or no. They sign up for lunch, they unload their backpacks, and they start their day with bell work. During that time, the teacher checks in with them, seeing how they're doing, empties their folders, and then they go on to language arts. Typically, we start out at the carpet time, and there's usually a story, a review, what's going to happen in the day, their schedule, and what kind of encore they're going to have. They go into reading, and then reading has teacher reading aloud the books to the students. They're looking for sight words, they're practicing new vocabulary, and then they go into small groups where they talk about the questions and they do some independent work. That leads right into math. They're learning about numbers. They also are learning in social studies, second step, how to be a good friend, neighbor kind, manners, all those wonderful social skills and what we need to do at school and outside of school. They go on to lunch where they can buy or pack. The students are very independent. We have a salad bar that they actually use themselves, the tongs and everything, and serve themselves. We try to incorporate as much independence throughout the year. The beginning of the year, right after lunch, we might have a quiet time, a little bit of a resting time to calm down. Then we go into additional math, onto science or social studies, and then we have encore, art, music, and gym on a rotating schedule. Then from there they come back in and they get ready to go home.
So we're going to learn a little bit more about early entrance, KLA, our traditional program, and our STEM, and I'm going to turn it over to Amy Zermatt, and she's going to provide you with some more details.
Thank you, Amy Cruz. All right, so one of my favorite parts of being in with our kindergarten programming is the teachers and what they bring to each and every one of the type of options we have available. We're going to talk through things such as what some of the curriculum pieces are, what it is like in the classroom as far as learning, but really the magic happens when your bright-eyed students walk in that room and the teachers do what they do best, and that is really engage with them and provide them opportunities to just learn and grow. So as we talked about, we have 4 options we're going to talk through tonight. One of the first ones is really about students who maybe have advanced needs and are ready for early entrance to kindergarten. These students have eligibility if they are 5 after September 30th, but before January 1st. We'll talk through some of the things that are required to kind of get through the approval process, because it's a little bit different than just your student being ready for kindergarten at the age that we offer that type of kindergarten service. The other one that we're talking about is KLA. You'll hear KLA, you'll hear Kindergarten Launch Academy. Whatever you may hear, it really is about supporting our students who are our youngest learners. They just turned 5 between May 1st and September 30th. They need a little bit more support getting ready to understand how to learn and play and socialize and get some foundational skills of reading and math at a little bit slower pace than kindergarten. The next option we'll talk through is traditional kindergarten, which you probably remember that you might have remembered what life was like in kindergarten, but things have changed quite a bit since probably you have been in kindergarten. So we'll talk through some of the things that our kindergartners are learning now, and also then that will help you prepare them to get ready for kindergarten. And then we have an opportunity here right at Pleasant Valley, which is our STEM-based kindergarten. And this involves understanding what type of learner your student is and providing hands-on, curious type of learning and ways for them to engage in the world of learning a little bit different than our traditional kindergarten. So we're going to have the Dean of Students from Pleasant Valley talk through what that learning looks like so that you can think about, is it right for your student? Okay, so as I spoke to, early entrance kindergarten is a process that if your student is not yet 5 right now, they will be turning it. You have to request early entrance following our process with kindergarten early entrance testing, as well as conversations with our school psychologist. This is offered at all of our buildings. So no matter what homeschool you have, if you have a student you feel is ready for kindergarten prior to 5 years old, you're going to have to follow the process that we want to make sure you understand that this is something that your student has to be ready for. So it involves more than just your child is at a certain age. It involves understanding that they are socially mature, that their academics that are a high level and they need that opportunity to grow sooner, and that their motor development and understanding of how to interact with others is able to be at a high level. If you have questions about this later on, you'll have the opportunity to speak to some of our exceptional students department, and they may be able to answer some questions that you specifically have about your child in relation to achieving early entrance for your kindergartner. The next type of program is one of my favorite because I feel like our students, we've found a way to give them the gift of time. My son was that early July birthday, and he just wasn't ready, we thought, but we didn't have an option like this. He ended up doing very well in school, but I think if he had an opportunity to learn a little bit slower, as well as that opportunity to have that social interaction, but in a kindergarten-like setting, he would be even more prepared for the things ahead for him in life. We offer Kindergarten Launch Academy at 3 of our elementaries. So you'll often hear us say, that's a KLA site, because just because your student does not have Green Valley as their home school, that doesn't mean that your child cannot have Kindergarten Launch Academy. It means that we have some certain things that, depending on where you live, would be that KLA site. And so we'll talk through what that learning looks like in the process so that you understand also what, as a parent, you would be required to do if you choose to send your student to Kindergarten Launch Academy. So Green Valley, Thoreau Park, and Ridgebrook are our 3 current sites. Green Valley houses students that their home schools would be Green Valley or Densler. Thoreau Park houses students that Thoreau Park and John Muir students. And then Ridgebrook is Ridgebrook students and then PV students. So depending on where your home school is, based on our boundaries, would determine which site that student would be recommended to go to if this is the option that you choose to send them to. So a little bit about Kindergarten Launch Academy. First thing is the age requirement. They are required to turn 5 between March 1st and September 30th. May 1st, between May 1st and September 30th. So though they are young, they are 5 years old. It does follow many of our kindergarten standards. But one thing to really emphasize is that the intention is that this student goes to Kindergarten Launch Academy the following year, then they would roll into traditional kindergarten. So it is intended that you would see it as Kindergarten Launch Academy, then kindergarten. So it technically is still kindergarten skills, but at a slower pace and not to the depth or mastery of kindergarten standards. One other thing to note, for this option, if that site is not your home school based on your boundaries, transportation is only provided if you live within that 2-mile radius and you would have gotten it for that home school. So for example, Green Valley, you need to live within Green Valley to be getting transportation. This would be something that you can have further conversations with the registration department to figure out where your boundary lies. And then the last thing is that they do take the kindergarten readiness assessment, and this just helps teachers be able to see kind of where your students are and be able to provide that instructional support as well as our requirements for the state testing. A few things about what it's like in KLA. Like I spoke to, it follows kindergarten standards. The main focuses, though, are on that foundational level of the standards. Kindergarten nowadays has many, many things students are supposed to learn and be able to be mastered by the end of first grade. It's much like probably what we were used to as first grade when we went to school. Nowadays, it involves a great deal of skills. What Kindergarten Launch Academy does is they go slower and they go deeper into these foundational skills, such as understanding letters, the print awareness, early literacy skills like sounds. And the other main focus that they do is foundational math skills, but that in a more hands-on approach. They incorporate quite a bit of play into their lessons, and they provide opportunities for engagement and curiosity so that they can build upon that and provide role play and opportunities for social. So as you can see, these are just some of the lists of curriculum pieces, but one of the main focuses, like I talked about, was really engaging your kids in that ongoing hands-on approach to learning some of the kindergarten skills. So that was Kindergarten Launch Academy, and now we'll talk about traditional kindergarten. We offer traditional kindergarten at all 6 of our elementary schools. So depending on where you live, one of these schools will be your home building, which is your school that your student would start at. All of the opportunities, no matter where you go, I promise you, are amazing. Your teachers are amazing. The buildings are amazing. What the difference may be is that it's your school. And so you take that ownership of just loving and understanding your school. So you'll talk to one person at Densler and they love it, and they should. And then you talk to somebody at Ridgebrook and they love it, and it's the best school in the world. That's the best thing about Parma, is that we have so many wonderful buildings for your kindergartner to be welcome to. So traditional kindergarten turns 5 years old on or before September 30th. This difference is they go to kindergarten traditional, then they go to first grade. It is a full day of learning. So in an elementary building, that is around 9:25, 9:35, depending on when their day gets going, to 3:40. Kindergarten readiness assessment is also given in a traditional kindergarten classroom. Like we spoke to, it really provides the teacher with information about where your student is, and then it also provides the requirements that we are required as part of Ohio. Transportation is available for home buildings in your eligibility zone. So that's the 2-mile radius. Some of the curriculum pieces with our traditional kindergarten classroom, like we spoke to, they follow all kindergarten standards in reading, math, science, social studies, social emotional learning, all of those that are state required, but then they're brought to life, obviously, through the lessons and things that they experience in each classroom. Some of the curriculum pieces that we utilize in a traditional classroom is mystery science for science and social studies. We do Envision math, into reading, and phonics, dance, and Haggerty. Other things that occur in a traditional classroom, encore, you may hear at different, if you do not have a student, that means that it is your music, your art, and your gym class. Learning centers, and then we also provide time for students to get individualized instruction, depending on if they need a little extra support or intervention in reading or math, as well as they might need enrichment because maybe they're really taking off in their learning. So now I'm going to give the microphone over to Allison Coakley. She's our Dean of Students here at Pleasant Valley, and she is not only an administrator as part of a STEM building, she also was a STEM teacher. So she comes with a vast amount of knowledge and experience, and she's going to talk you through what STEM kindergarten is like.
Thank you, Amy, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pleasant Valley. The STEM program is housed here, grades K through 4, and if you continue on in the program, you would attend middle school at Greenbrier for grades 5 through 8. Once your child is in the program, they would remain in the program unless otherwise requested by you. So once you fill out the application and your child gets into a STEM classroom, that would roll over each year. STEM kindergarten is very traditional to very similar to a traditional kindergarten setting in that your child must turn 5 years old on or before September 30th of this year. They would be promoted to first grade the following year in a STEM classroom. They will get a full day of learning, all kindergarten standards. The presentation of this just looks a little bit different. The focus is on that project-based hands-on learning. They'll still take the kindergarten readiness assessment as well as be benchmarked with Ames Web. And the one unique thing about the program is that in order to receive transportation, Pleasant Valley would need to be your home school. So if your child is assigned to, for example, Densler, you would be responsible for transporting your child to school here at Pleasant Valley to be in the program. STEM is very popular in education right now, but it looks very, very different in every district. Here in our district, our STEM program is umbrellaed under project-based learning, which means we are promoting real-world problem solving through creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking skills. So your child will still receive the same kindergarten curriculum in a STEM classroom with just a little bit of a different teaching approach. So that project-based learning piece is going to really require your child to be able to work as part of a team, to accept multiple solutions to a problem, and to be able to articulate their thinking through capstones and just different methods of presentation. And I am handing it back now to Amy.
Thank you so much, Ms. Coakley. All right, so one of the questions that we often get is, how do I get my student ready to be a kindergartner? And it takes more than just reading to them or speaking to them or bringing them to maybe a social event. There's so much that you can do that really doesn't involve much more than you really just giving them the opportunity to have a little bit of independence. Having students start practicing putting on their own coats, trying to zip them, goes such a long way for them to not only feel like they're a big kid getting ready for school just like their brothers and sisters possibly, but also it helps just with routines and building that capacity to get ready for what it's like when you're in a kindergarten classroom. So that also goes along the lines of some of the self-help skills and also just understanding self-care and providing that opportunity for them to try something first before you maybe do it for them. The other thing that we really try to work on and that you can help with is developing routines. Our students in kindergarten, one of the ways that you really see the magic of kindergarten is that first week of school when kindergartners come in and they're just in awe of kind of what's going on in a building. You see them the first couple of days and they don't know how to line up or they're all over the place. I promise you, by the end of the week, they're in lines. And it's the magic of our teachers and their patience and the routine building. But if you provide routines like that, not necessarily lining up, but if you provide routines at home, it's going to provide that opportunity for them to understand the need for routines and how they thrive in that situation. One of the other things is reading. Our students love being read to. I'm sure you know this just from being at home. And reading aloud to a student and having a conversation provides so many opportunities for them to engage in the understanding of what a conversation is, and understanding the wide world of reading in terms of characters and just how life can be connected to it. One other way that is really beneficial is providing opportunities for meaningful social interactions and play. We really work with our students on understanding obviously things like sharing and turn taking, but when they're provided those opportunities, even if they don't have brothers and sisters, it really helps them feel and self-regulate so that when they're surrounded by 30 friends all wanting to have the same marker, they can react and be able to move through that throughout the day. So one last thing about that, getting your student ready, you were provided that sheet as well in your handout. So if you wanted to utilize it in any way, you're more than welcome to. One of the other questions that we get, and as we wrap up, is if you have not registered, how do you go about registering? Or if after this evening, it's provided you with an opportunity to kind of process the options that we have out there, perhaps you want to discuss changing your option. Meaning you already signed up, you put down you wanted traditional kindergarten, and maybe you spoke to a STEM teacher tonight and talked more about that type of learning, and you think that STEM is the option that's best for your student. The first stop always is our website, and the registration department is phenomenal, and they are always so willing and able to have conversations with families to help make sure you feel comfortable with what option or experience that you're providing your student. So we have traditional and KLA in all of the options. You're going to go onto the website and you're going to complete the online application. If you are choosing traditional or KLA, you'll select that. If you are choosing STEM, there is a separate application for STEM that requires a little more information about your student so that you also have the understanding of what STEM involves, as well as if it's the best fit for your student. More information, like I said, can be found on our website, including even more details about the different kindergarten options, as well as this presentation is being recorded, so it will be pushed out through all of our social media avenues. The last few things I wanted to talk through is the upcoming kindergarten events. So this event obviously had a lot of information, and the next event, however, is really our start of kicking off kindergarten for your students. So no matter the option you choose, we have a very fun event on Saturday, March 2nd. You will receive a flyer when you walked in. It's called Kindergarten Kickoff, and this year's theme is Carnival. This is one we encourage and welcome all students coming. It is amazing because we not only have lots and lots of fun things to do, but there's still a lot of information as well that you as a parent will receive and engage with. The other things I want to highlight is we last year had our first opportunity to hold PCSD Literacy Boot Camp. It was a summer program for about 4 days to help your kindergartner get introduced to a few activities and things, and it was ran by our amazing kindergarten teachers. We do have kindergarten testing that we're required to do. So there will be opportunities for kindergarten testing in the summertime, but you will receive information about signups. But there also will be opportunities in the fall before school starts. So you will get more information on all of these things. The other things to highlight, there are kindergarten orientation days you'll receive information on, depending on your last name. It'll determine which day your student goes in to their new building, and you're provided a little information, and then they stay the rest of the day. And then there will be the first day of kindergarten, and as soon as our next school year calendar is published, we'll be able to tell you what that first day will be.